All right, time to wake up America. On Wednesday, Officer Miosotis Familia was assassinated while sitting in her patrol car in Bronx, New York. Officer Familia, her name literally means family, had 3 loving kids. She's being mourned at this very moment. And yesterday, the NYPD swore in the incoming class of 2017, 524 men and women. It's nearly a statistical certainty that some will be killed in the line of duty. For these events, Mayor Bill de Blasio is nowhere to be found. That's because de Blasio is in Germany to deliver a keynote speech to anti-Trump far-left goons rioting at G20 meetings. A disrespectful SOB of a mayor he is. But de Blasio is no stranger to disrespecting law enforcement. Recall in 2014 when officers Wenjin Liu and Rafael Ramos were assassinated in their patrol cars just days after de Blasio's public display of disrespect for cops. Remember, de Blasio warning his biracial son to be wary of New York cops. Now recall the response from the NYPD, a sentiment shared by millions of us Americans. Turning their back on the mayor. New York is crumbling. Crime is shaking the city. Homeless people are urinating in the streets. And de Blasio, you decided it was a good idea to front the far-left goons. Stop flattering yourself, Bill. You're not a social justice warrior. You're not a progressive for the people. You're a despicable, self-dealing clown who traveled to Germany to feed your need for cameras and microphones. I pray your liberal pals recognize the hole in your soul and never vote for you for anything other than lamest human being on the planet. For that, you'd win by a New York mile. And do us all a favor and listen to the New York Post, which speaks for millions of Americans. And don't come back, de Blasio. Don't come back. Ebony, too hard on him?
You're not voting for de Blasio for re-election?
Yeah, I think I'll...
Just kidding. No, you know what? This is poorly played by the mayor, by any measure. To me, it's horrible and more egregious than last week. We all know here in New York City, a mess with our transit systems, derailments every other day, drives right past them like it's not even happening, goes to the gym in Park Slope instead. I'm really not certain what he thinks his role is other than to lead the city of New York and be there to raise morale. We know that a class of cadets graduated today. He wasn't there for that either.
524 men and women.
Yeah, going over to...
right, well, listening to de Blasio talk about the police force, he loves to complain and he loves to sort of dismiss them. And it's almost as if he forgets that's actually his police force. It's not like he's just some dude with a blog about the issue. He's the mayor of New York City and they are the NYPD. This is not a way that any manager of anything should behave. Could you imagine, I mean, not working with them, not being there when there's a tragedy that takes place? A manager at McDonald's couldn't behave this way. And we have the mayor of New York City behaving this way. Everyone's right to be disgusted. I don't know what he was thinking, but I'm sure he's going to come back and play the victim and say the police are being mean to me and it's not fair. Well, take a look at what you're doing here.
Anthony, what about this client? I cannot believe he took off with all this stuff going on here in New York.
I think it's a brilliant move by the mayor. I'm going to take the other side of it. I want you guys to hear me out. Okay? I can't stand the guy, but he won by 71% of the vote. Only 1 million people voted at an eligibility of 3 million. There's a tremendous amount of apathy here in the streets of New York. New York City residents are not voting. If they don't like what's going on in the streets, the urination, the panhandling, all of the nonsense, get out and vote for somebody like Bo Dietl. Get this guy out of City Hall.
Here's my point, though, is he's always complaining about the NYPD,
because it plays to his base.
But he won't work with them.
I understand that, but he doesn't care about the NYPD. It's not his base. He doesn't care. He's into these left-wing radicals. They're going to show up and vote for him. This plays his base. It's political brilliance, whether you guys like it or not.
So do you think, Sonata, is this, he's playing for a bigger crowd? He's looking for a bigger platform. Forget New York City mayor. He wants to be some sort of national... he wants to be president. Maybe he does.
Look, Eric, everyone loves to go to Europe during summer. I do too. But I think he went to the wrong part of Europe at the wrong time. I think at this point we need to show unity. And if we have President Trump representing the United States of America at such important meeting, I think he should show support,
Forget support
at home.
He went to, Ebony, he keynoted the protests, the rioters, the anarchists' speech, their little get-together. He keynoted that All America, his city's burning here.
His city's burning. Well, I don't know if it's burning, but it certainly
doesn't appear to be burning.
I don't know if
right
it is.
now.
I was like, I don't know if it's burning, but I do know. I do know in the Bronx.
This is the most disgusting New York. I've been here 30 years. Yeah. This is the most disgusting the streets have ever been. Anthony, people are urinating in the streets. There's homeless population.
But beyond that, can I make this point, Eric? Can I make the point that there is a law enforcement officer, as you point out in your monologue, in the Bronx, shot and killed, basically assassinated.
Doesn't care.
And that's the part that I find completely disheartening.
I think it's totally despicable, but it is, as a politician, he's politically brilliant because all he cares about is galvanizing his base and getting those people to turn out in September, November. Again, if you don't like it, let's cause a movement. Let's get people that really hate what's going on in the city to vote him out of office.
Yeah, but even liberals can't like the fact that the trains are delayed for hours, the snow removal's horrible. They can't love the way. Why would they vote?
We pay so many taxes, and there's so much garbage on the street all the time. It doesn't really make sense. No, the thing that bothers me the most about this is we know that in the future he'll be complaining about the NYPD giving him problems, or they don't like me, this and that. You're not the victim. If you're not there for them the way that you're supposed to be, then what do you expect?
But Scaramucci makes a good point, because I talked to Curtis Lee, our friend, about this bowling, and I said he's got to be vulnerable, right? I mean, this has got to be an opportunity where he can. So he was like, no, the apathy is so strong, the voter turnout is always so low, that likely he'll be reelected.
Hey, we had Mayor Rudy Giuliani, a Republican. We had a mayor in Bloomberg who was an independent / Republican.
Just remember, the worst time prior to this was '93. Giuliani lost in '89 against Dinkins. He challenged Dinkins in '93. He only won by 2% of the vote, and it was a complete annihilation of the city going on, similar to what's going on today. Very, very tough to win here if you're not a Democrat. This guy is a disaster. He deserves to be out of office.
What about a challenger from within the Democratic Party?
Yeah,
how about that?
We'll take anything at this point.
Yeah, I mean, what about that?
Vote Deedle.
We're going to leave it right there.